Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Howard who loved writing stories.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world. He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
Welcome to the worst writer in the world.
Hooray!
It's episode 5 of George Spooner and the woman who loved a horse.
Ooh.
This is a story about a man called George Spooner.
Yeah. What's he do for a living?
What he does for a living actually is he's an art dealer.
Oh, right.
But that doesn't take up a lot of his time. You know, in fact, I'd say he has little, well, maybe even less than little to do. Maybe as little as nowt.
It's now, really, really. But he's an art dealer, so he must have inherited a lot of money, did he?
No,
Oh.
no. He made his money in
money.
mining.
Oh,
In diamond mining.
he made his new money, is he? Oh,
Yeah, he is new money, yeah. You could put it another way. I
Oh, yeah.
guess you could say he's the parvenu with now
Now
to
to
do.
do!
Anyway, because he's got now to do, and no one likes him because he's new money,
Wow.
he's decided that a good hobby for a man like him to pursue would be stalking people based on what clothes they're wearing. So anytime he sees someone wearing white, he stalks them until he sees someone else wearing more white clothes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he takes it so seriously that he stalked someone onto a ferry to France, and so now he's in France.
Brilliant.
And we learned that he's not very good at stalking because he's banging around the place wearing a bright orange suit.
Yeah, so he's decided to get some better clothes so he can take his stalking much better from now on.
He's got those better clothes. He's been to the clothes shop. He's
been to
got
the
the better
shop.
clothes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got them. Absolutely. He's changed into them and everything. And he's we left him as he left the shop, basically.
Really?
Anyway, would you like to get back to George Spooner and see how his adventures in Paris, right? He's in Paris, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
How his adventures in Paris are going, Mr. Howard.
Yes, please.
As I strolled down the line, feeling particularly handsome, that's an actual line, the name of a street. As I strolled down a street, feeling particularly handsome, I was in two minds what to do with my previous suit. I was not one for carrying things. 6 months of lugging things up and down the pit had been enough carrying for a lifetime. Oh yeah, because he was a miner in early life, wasn't he?
Yeah, until he found Superman down the pit and he turned
Oh, God,
turned
he
some
found
coal
a
into
big-
a diamond for him.
He found a big diamond and knew that the law meant he could have half. And I was not keen on returning to my suite, being so close as I was now to the Louvre. Lost in such important and complex matters, I almost stepped on a down-and-out fellow who was sat on the pavement. The poor unfortunate yelled something at me in his native tongue, of which I am both pleased and moderately taken aback to say I recognised certain expletives. Though his outburst was clearly intended as an attack on my good name, I decided instead to imagine he was enthusiastically complimenting me on my new suit. A version of events, I felt, that displayed both of our characters in a much better light. I thanked him and walked on, but had barely gone a few steps when the answer to my excessive trappings... Then the answer... Barely... had barely gone a few steps when the answer to my excessive trappings came to me like an escaped duck from a Peking kitchen.
Why? All right, sure.
I returned to the piteous vagabond, and beaming my winning smile, I dropped my old suit in his lap. He thanked me loudly with an angry expression and several quadriletter words. And then, with a tip of the hat, a wink, and a nom problem, I continued on my way. I never grew tired of old Mona. I could stand and stare at her for hours, and never grow tired of postulating as to the whereabouts of her eyebrows. If Rembrandt had had the benefit of the modern camera, perhaps somewhere a photograph would exist which could put to rest the question of whether this Rembrandt... I wonder if this is George meant to be...
I don't know who painted the Mona Lisa.
It's Leonardo da Vinci. It's one of those... it's the most famous painting in the world. But it might be George Spooner's mistake, right? As we've seen before,
Yes.
George Spooner is written very deliberately as an unreliable narrator, and it might be that he's deliberately being unreliable about who painted the Mona Lisa. So let's hold off before we mock young Howard and see if this is all very deliberate. If Rembrandt had had the benefit of the modern camera, perhaps somewhere a photograph would exist which could put to rest the question of whether this were artistic license or whether she'd burned them off making a pot of coffee on the stove. I suppose there is a book somewhere, written by some scholar or other, insisting the woman had no eyebrows due to a peculiar illness, and that she was entirely bald and wearing a wig. But I find books on history so uncommonly dull, and books on art. That's why I have no idea who painted this painting that I'm looking at now. Not that history itself was dull, no, by no means. Rather, the Professor Whose Socks that write the dreary tomes talk at such... I feel like that should be Professors Whose Sockses.
Yeah,
Because he's talking
sure.
in plural, right?
Professor Susie
All right,
Thompson.
so not that history itself was dull, no, by no means. Rather, the professors whose sockses that write the dreary tomes talk at such great length about the most insignificant matters. When all I really want to know
Is who painted it?
who is this Rembrandt fellow and how did he feel about painting the Mona Lisa? No, who shot whom and who's having whose baby? I liked a good detective novel. Okay, that's a bit out of nowhere. Perhaps somebody... Oh, no, here we go. Perhaps somebody could find a way of combining the two. A rip-roaring adventure of murder and intrigue set against the backdrop of Rembrandt's... Oh, set against the backdrop of Rembrandt's Paris. Right, Rembrandt, the famous Dutch artist. Famous for living in Paris and painting the Mona Lisa. I mean, Leonardo da Vinci wasn't Parisian either.
I think I do.
To be fair to you,
no, but no, that's fair to me. But I mean, I do know who painted the Mona Lisa, so I don't know whether, in a moment of just because I was doing it really in the evening, just before I went to bed and I was drunk, or was doing it in the morning when I just woke up that I forgot, or if it's supposed to be George Spooner getting it wrong. I have no idea.
It must be right. It's such a thing. Like Rembrandt, yeah. So I think we're going to find out it's deliberate. I have faith.
I don't know whether we will find out.
But I think if we don't, it's because you didn't get to the point where you actually wrote the punchline, or because you were doing it quickly, you forgot that you'd set up.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing you can do in a first draft, isn't it? You set up a joke and then forget about it and never get to the punchline.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time with everything I ever do ever.
It's not that I don't write punchlines, I'm just very forgetful, Your Honour. Why are you putting me in jail? Why are you putting me in jail? This seems like a little bit over the top as a reaction. I just wrote some bad jokes. Yeah, now this, what he's... I mean, I would like to say that you invented it, but I suspect this is a long time after it. What you're describing here, a rip-roaring adventure of murder and intrigue set against the backdrop of Rembrandt's Paris, is... I mean, you're talking about the Da Vinci Code, right? This is the Da Vinci Code. Like, it's about art and history to an extent, kind of, a bit. Yeah. But it's actually a kind of exciting adventure that people enjoy reading. Anyway, I would suggest it to Archie when I next saw him. Maybe something he could tackle. Archie. Now, I feel like this has been mentioned before. Who's Archie?
Oh, I didn't. But now you say it, he's got brothers, hasn't he? And one of them's a writer.
Okay.
It's Archie Spooner.
Okay. Mind you, she probably just plucked them. That's the eyebrows. This is all
Okay, right,
eyebrows.
yeah, no, not his brother.
She probably plucked my brother. Or maybe I misheard him. We plucked yesterday. Maybe I wasn't listening carefully enough. Yeah, no, that was the punchline. I mean, we ruined it by just getting distracted. But he had a whole paragraph wondering about why the Mona Lisa doesn't have eyebrows. And then at the end he's like, oh, but on the other hand, maybe she just plucked them.
Yeah.
As I was stood admiring the old girl, lost in reverie, I heard my name being called. George, it is you! I turned to find a giant of a woman bearing down on me. A dead animal of some description draped around her neck. It was Amelia Hudson, an American lady.
How you doing? I'm from fucking America, right?
I'm American. I'm not changing it now. I'm not
Would you
going
like
back.
some of my American haggis? Would you like that?
It was Amelia Hudson, an American lady I had taken a stroll with on several occasions. With a view to romance. Okay, he went for a romantic walk with this woman. I am changing it. It was Amelia Hudson, a Scottish lady I had taken a stroll with on several occasions at night with a view to romance, but she just wanted to visit her gran.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about Americans is that they're all new money as far as the Brits are concerned, and so I always felt quite on equal footing with them. The unfortunate thing about Americans is they won't take no for an answer, and shaking this one off had required a few tiny white lies and a big black whopper.
Ooh. That sounds like a dildo, right?
It does, yeah. She grabbed me with her tight grip and kissed me on both cheeks, as is the custom here. It's so wonderful to see you, George. You too, Amelia, I replied, not entirely truthfully, but she was a fun sort if you weren't involved, so to speak. You're back, finally. You should have called. It was the next thing on my list. Look at you, you handsome devil. You haven't aged a day. How was Australia? There was the whopper. Hot, I replied, utilising a knowledge of the antipodes I had learned from Baz Hammer.
Yes! Fucking, that's when the name's crossed off. Bass Hammer. Good.
Is that one from the beginning?
No, it's not. But that's
That's okay.
The ones from the beginning
You used it.
it got used. So he's Bass
But
Hammer.
it is a Burt Pencil name, isn't it? But it's a cool name.
Very much. Yes, it's the most Burt Pencil name there, I suppose. Because the first name begins with B, and then
Yeah.
the next thing is a.
And it's a utensil.
Yeah, utensil.
It's like a tool. Hot, I replied, utilising a knowledge of the antipodes I had learned from Baz Hammer, a weekly strip in the Penny Dreadfuls.
Oh, okay. It's not somebody he knows.
No, it's a character.
Because I was going to say, actually, it'd be weird if he didn't know Australia was hot, and he had a friend called Baz Hammer that told him.
Yeah. Listen, George. You know how you're always going around saying you've been to Australia and it was really cold there,
Yeah.
right? You had to take your big hat and coat, right? Stop saying that. Oh, I went the other week. It's really hot, all right?
hot, yeah.
Okay. See you later, man. It's Baz Hammer. Bye.
Thanks, Baz.
That's Mr. Hammerdy.
Give my regards to Mrs.
Baz.
Hammer.
Yeah, Baz was my father's name. Call me Mr. Hammer.
Yeah.
So he's, then he adds, huge leaping rabbits, I continued, on shakier ground.
Yeah. He's like, this really is my Australia project for it's hot and there's
He
massive
probably
rabbits.
consulted it.
Yeah.
He probably consulted it for research. Oh no, I've already done the research on Australia. I did it when I was a kid.
Day 1, I went to Melbourne. On day 2, I went to Alice Springs.
Yeah.
And then, and if you thought it was difficult travelling from Sydney to Melbourne and to Canberra in 3 days when I was a child in the 90s, it was
Yeah.
much harder when George Spooner had to do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't even get a plane, right?
He had to ride a kangaroo, or rather a big jumping rabbit, as he called it. Anyway, Amelia laughed. Oh, George, you're such a card. Are you here alone? It's brilliant how any female character that you write, I can do with that voice, and it just works, right? Oh, George, you're such a card.
Yeah.
Are you here alone? Right now, yes. So am I. My aunt is bed-bound with Le Grip.
Oh, wow.
So I'm at a loose end. I have an appointment at 3. That's perfect. I'll come with you, she beamed. Ah, yes. I remembered this was one of the many traits that had put me off the sort back in the day. The sort? I remembered this was one of the many traits that had put me off the sort back in the day. She must have noticed my eye twitch. Unless it's a private thing. Is it a private thing? Well, of sorts. Oh, George, is it a woman? Are you in love? I've barely spoken 2 words to the girl, if I'm being honest. And are you? What? being honest.
Yes. If I'm being honest, and I am being
dash
honest.
it. Yes, dash it. Splendid. So where are we going? It's Annalisa. Yeah. It's absolutely Annalisa.
It is Annalisa, yeah. Fuck.
Oh, by the way, George Spooner, question. Can I come with you on your date? No, I'm coming. Okay, let's go.
Come on, let's go and buy a painting. We'll use your own money, of course.
Yeah, before we go and meet your friend, before we go and meet your lady friend, I just want to go to the shop and get a wedding dress.
Yeah.
All right, you get a tuxedo. It'll really surprise her when we turn up dressed as if we just got married. Also, let's actually get married.
Yeah.
And afterwards, can we go and see my ex-boyfriend? Yeah. Stand outside his house and yell.
Snog at him. Yes.
I sighed. So that was it. My tete-a-tete was now a party. Never mind, I considered, this may actually aid my affairs somewhat. After all, I had no idea why Miss Darling had actually invited me to tea, and it was only optimism that led me to believe there could be a potential entanglement. And should this be the case, I was very aware that it was a fine-looking horse I was up against in these romance stakes. Brilliant. That's a good line. Bringing Amelia would make me appear both popular with the ladies and not too interested. Add to this my wanton good looks and my long nose and swishy tail. And that is one package likely to evoke a little jealousy. When it was approximately 3:34, or approximately 3:35, I concluded my attempts to make Miss Darling jealous had been a little too successful. Oh. So this is like after the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Having insisted on joining me, Amelia had gone on to insist that we arrive at the tea house early and catch up. And short of agreeing, or wearing some kind of magical suit impervious to insistence, one's options are severely limited when Amelia Hudson starts insisting all over the place. That's a line from something, right? What's that from?
That's from Doctor Who.
Is it Doctor Who, really?
Yeah.
Insisting all over the place?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that. Do I know that? I know that through you. Then I know that from you saying it. Right?
No, we watched it.
What's it from?
It's from the Tomb of the Cybermen when that suddenly found it and released it on video, and we watched it in your lounge for the first time.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did we really? Okay. So the first time you saw that was in my lounge. Yeah. Okay. That being so, I was seated and full of cake a full 30 or so minutes before my scheduled meeting, giving Amelia ample opportunity to do what she called catching up, but would more correctly be called talking at George. I should not complain, however, about Amy's loquacious bonce.
At least I got the word bonce right this time. At least I didn't say her loquacious nonce, because that would be really disturbing.
That would, yeah.
She'd brought a very talkative pedophile with her.
So I should not complain, however, about Amy's loquacious bonce, as it saved me from making up stories of my fictitious time in Australia, which, pushed any further, would involve me wrestling a crocodile and finding lost treasure. Although, to be fair, given my reputation, this last point would not be so unbelievable.
Yeah, true.
Because it wouldn't be the first time he's found treasure.
Yes, so it sounds like all his stories of Australia he's told us so far are just taken from the pages of Baz Hammer.
Yeah, it really does. Amelia loved to gossip, and so long as the tea and cakes kept coming, she could talk uninterrupted for hours. She would make a good novelist, I thought, as her stories, from repeated telling, tended to become overly elaborate until the events and people had been so twisted from their original that nobody could sue. One particular story she told on this occasion very much took my fancy, and whilst I have not her way with words, I will try my best to put down what she said. The upside of reading it is you won't be hit by any stray crumbs flying on the wind. I live, as you know, George Darling, on the fashionable side of Line, 3 doors down from the old Burley mansion, which, for the good part of 5 years, had remained empty. They found a taker finally, did they? Never interrupt a lady when she's talking, George. Well, the old thing is such a colossal and unattractive building. The creeping ivy had crept as far as it could creep, and what is creeping ivy supposed to do when it cannot fulfill its titular purpose? Well, you know how people are. Stories began to circulate. Ones that she had started, no doubt. That's a little comment from George there. That the reason no one would take the place was because it was haunted. Did anybody ever die in it? George, I'm setting the scene. Apologies. Strange sounds were said to come from the place at midnight. What kind of sounds? Strange ones. Dogs would bark as they passed, and the neighbourhood children would cross the street to avoid getting too close. And then, one day, quite out of the blue, a sold sign went up.
Somebody bought the Burley mansion. Is it Burley, Burly?
No, it's Burleigh.
Okay, that kind of Burley.
Yeah.
I like a burly man, shun. A burly man, shun.
I wonder if that was a deliberate joke when you wrote it. But I think I'll call it Burley. I think I'll call it Sexy Mansion. Hang on. Not Sexy Mansion. Hunky Mansion. No. Burley. I'll get away with that one. I'll spell it weird. You could have written sexy, but Sexeigh.
Yes, right. Yeah. Of course, good disguise.
Sexy Mansion. Yes, I've been there many times. So she says, and then one day, quite out of the blue, a sold sign went up. Ah, good. More tea? That is not the end of the story, George. Is it not? That is merely the beginning. I was setting the scene. I see. Well, carry on. Well, what kind of person would buy such a monstrosity, the people on the street wondered. Someone with a few bob, I'd guess. Aesthetically speaking, who would buy it? Ah, a blind lady? George? Sorry, continue. What type of character would choose to buy such a sinister abode? It's a rhetorical question. I'm going to answer it myself. I thought you wanted me to guess. No, she sighed. No, I want you to be a good boy and listen. How old are you? Don't answer that, George. How old are you? Don't answer that, George. It's exactly this kind of conversation that reminds me where we went wrong. In my head, I corrected that to where we went right. I like the idea that George just corrects people in his head. They're like,
Yeah.
George, you're ugly and stupid. In my head, I corrected that to handsome and clever. It's like he just doesn't hear the truth.
It seems like he did because that's what happened with that tramp earlier, wasn't it? When the tramp was like clearly like yelling and swearing at him, and he was like, he thanked me.
And it seemed like he was doing that because he was speaking a different language. He's like, I could just assume what he meant, but it turns out he does it in English as well. He just changes the words. So, she announced, what kind of human could desire to live in such a cursed place? I'll tell you who. A witch. Oh, now hang about, I said. It's all very well to exaggerate a few details, but really, Amelia, you simply cannot go about spreading such ghastly stories about people. You don't even know the woman, and to start such a scandalous rumour is totally out of the question. Got to agree with him there. Oh, George, I'd forgotten how attractive I find you when you put your foot down. It's my testosterone, I explained. It's magnetic to the female of the species. But I didn't start any rumours or even spread them. No, the woman was actually a real-life witch.
Okay.
Mademoiselle Jean Dupont. I beg your pardon.
Jean Dupont.
But yeah, because Jean is it Jean? Is that
a
a
guy's
male
name? Right, yeah.
I feel like maybe that's just a guy's name.
Jean. Just Jean Dupont.
Yeah. I beg your pardon. You're saying she was a bona fide witch? I am. And you expect me to believe you? She told me as much herself.
Wow.
And she expected you to believe her? I did believe her. We all did. Did she have a cauldron? No. Was she green? Honestly, George, you really need to start reading something without pictures. She was a Wiccan, a pagan. Ah, a bohemian. She sighed audibly. I was just joshing, I admitted. I know the type exactly. I recently finished a Baz Hammer novel where he became embroiled in a very similar scenario. Wow. Baz Hammer and the Adventure of the Flying Lady. Could yours fly? Did you tell me this is after we started writing Gret Binchleaf? It was, right? It is. Didn't you say that? Cool. Okay, so I feel like Baz Hammer, the Adventure of the Flying Lady has got Gret Binchleaf energy, right? Could yours fly? Well, supposedly as possible, but I believe it takes a very powerful witch to hop on a broom and go for a jaunt. I see. So she wasn't a bad sort. Thereby hangs a story. I was afraid you were going to say that. I take it all the prior was simply setting the scene. Be quiet and have some cake. So, as soon as Mademoiselle Dupont had moved into the old Burley mansion, also known as the Sexy Mansion, I made it my duty to welcome her to the neighbourhood. I sent my girl over to invite her to tea. I had to correct myself then, because what it actually says is, I sent my girl over to invite her tea. Right? Hey girl, could you go and ask her tea if it wants to come over and drink coffee with me? Ah, Florence. How is little Florence? I guess Florence is her girl, and by which she probably means servant, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As pretty as you remember her. Now, Florence returned, looking a little paler, with a message informing me that, due to strict dietary requirements, Mademoiselle Dupont could not take tea abroad, but would gladly entertain me in her own home at the previously suggested time. Interesting. You think she couldn't leave her house because of the sun? That's vampires, George. Yes, of course it is. So you entered the belly of the beast? Oh, absolutely. Of course, I didn't know she was a witch at this point. Even I may have had second thoughts with this prior knowledge. Probably some rule about 2 witches in 1 room, I told myself, doing a little joke in my mind. I had long ago learned to keep my humour locked up. Women do not appreciate the same kind of humour that we men do, the kind that directly insults women, like insults you personally, but is also is personally insulting to you as an individual, but also manages to encompass all women in misogyny.
It's weird, isn't it?
Women don't find that funny.
It's weird because before he seemed like a proper advocate when he started saying you can't go around calling people witches and that.
Yeah, he did. He seemed to be on the right side, didn't he?
But now
he's calling her
both witches.
Just doing it.
Yeah,
He's just doing the thing. Yeah. So he's like, women do not appreciate the same kind of humour that we men do, for the most part, because it is either arbitrarily misogynistic, or far worse, to their thinking, it is silly. The gates creaked ominously as I entered the front driveway to the mansion house. Sounds ominous, I remarked. I mean, yeah, she just said they creaked ominously, right? So that is correct. Sounds ominous, I remarked. Choosing to ignore me, she continued, the gravel crunched beneath my feet as I walked the short distance to her front door, and all the way I could feel there were eyes watching me.
Sounds crunchy gravelly, I said.
She decided to ignore me. You've a lot of curtain twitches in your neighbourhood. I mean from the Burley place. Ah. Somebody or something was watching my arrival. Cripes. And, looking up, I saw from an attic window a pair of glowing green eyes peering down. I'm surprised you could see the attic window from the front door. I've reordered the events for the sake of suspense, though I can see I needn't have bothered. No, it's very exciting, riveting, like a Baz Hammer. Go on. Green eyes are peering down, some kind of mad wife, perhaps. No, it was a cat. Oh, I said with evident disappointment. A black cat. Ah, I exclaimed with excited realization. Of course. The witch's familiar. Now, I'd like to say that the idea that anyone who owns a black cat is a witch is demonstrably untrue, because if it's true, I am 2 witches. Because I have 2 black cats.
Yeah, you probably are. You're never content with being just one witch, are you?
But let's not get in the way of the brilliant joke that's coming up here, because Amelia says, the witch's familiar. And of course, George says, Is she indeed? Is she? I'm sorry, with what? No, her familiar, her animal spirits. Yes, got you. I have mentioned I am an idiot. Of course, said Amelia, trying to claw back the thread of her story. I did not know this yet, but even now I could tell there was something unusual in the creature's stare. Something more than a regular cat. Something far wiser. A little shudder passed through me as the eyes seemed to bore into my very soul. The glare was so intense I felt I must look away, and though I did so for only an instant, when I looked back, the creature had dropped from sight. Fallen off the ledge, you think? They always land on their feet, apparently. Handy skill. Imagine if we did that. She was staring at me, very much, I expect, like the cat had stared at her. I shut up. Shaking off my misgivings, she continued, I stepped up to the large, weathered door and twisted the ornate doorbell. I heard the clapper strike the bell in the hall, and moments later I could hear heavy footsteps approaching. So the next thing that George Spooner does is George Spooner says, do you know what I love more than anything else in the world? Is Rufus and Howard's secret gang. They really are marvellous. Every single one of them is a wonderful person, and I'd like to thank them all individually, shake them by the hand, and give them a Superman crushed diamond each. Unfortunately, I've only got one of them, so I'm not going to. But I would like to say that they're all absolutely marvellous for supporting Rufus and Howard in their work, of which they do a lot. An awful lot. Spend a lot of time recording and writing and editing and crying, because it's all just too much for them. And by giving them your support, you do mitigate the crying somewhat. You reduce the amount of crying that goes on. And that's awfully nice of you. So thank you, individually and collectively, every person who has ever joined the secret gang, now, in the past, or in the future. And, of course, if you do join the secret gang now, you can immediately get your hands on the first couple of chapters of Gret Binchleaf, Master of Disguises.
Wow.
The latest Gret Binchleaf book, not to mention the 11 books that came before it, only 2 or 3 of which are available publicly. But that's enough of Rufus and Howard's secret gang. Let's get back to me in the 1930s.
What a delightful little interlude. I didn't realise that George Spooner was real.
I heard the door being unlocked, and presently it swung open, revealing a large, violent-looking butler.
Wow.
And I said, you did it. I said, you. I bet it was you that did it. And he said, did what? No, nothing's been done yet.
The thing is that butlers do a lot of things, so you can apply that phrase quite often,
Butlers,
can't you?
yeah.
The floor's looking very clean. The butler did it.
Someone just brought the mail.
Yeah,
The butler did it.
Yeah.
Who opened the door? Well, I guess I've got a bit of a surprise for you, maid.
Wait a second. Why am I getting arrested for opening the door? Because you did it, butler. You did it.
Yes, because you opened it to a murderer. Let the murderer in and then handed him the knife. Well, I am the butler. I am supposed to hand
he
knives
asked
to
for
people.
the knife.
Yes, that is my job, to do as I'm told.
He told me to stick that knife in that man's face. I did it. I'm his butler.
Yes, that's
That is, I mean, this is a joke, but this is how being rich works, isn't it? And that's how assassins work and everything. It's like you just get someone to do it for you, and then, well, I didn't do it. They did it. They go to prison. They take the rap because you're paying for their family or something like that.
paying for their family. You go to the family shop and buy a family for them. They're like, I paid for your family, and I can return them to Marks and Spencer if you don't go to prison for me.
Well, you've seen a Minority Report, right?
I have.
Yeah, so you know that Victor Crow doesn't exist, and he's just been hired by a rich person whose family is poor. So he's going to I'm willing to die or go to prison for the sake of my family. Yeah, for money. And that is why the butler has done it, because someone told them to.
Yes. Excuse me. We still don't think we've established what I've done. Nothing has happened. We haven't mentioned anything happening. Really, I just opened the door. Are you saying that after I opened the door that I did open the door? Yes, I'm saying you opened the door. I know that. I just did it. Told you. That's what I said.
That
I said
sounds
that
like a
first.
confession to me, Holmes. Let's put him in clankers and take him
open
away.
that door. Put him in the clankers.
Clankers. I can't remember what those things are called.
I heard the door being unlocked, and presently it swung open, revealing a large, violent-looking butler. He's violent-looking as well. That's
holding a gun.
That's suspicious. He was wearing clankers and holding a gun. I suspect he had done it.
He's covered in blood and he's got someone's head in his hand, isn't he? Hi.
Something about his gait reminded me of an exhibition of Neanderthal man at the British Museum.
Something about his gait.
Something about his gait, yes.
Did he leave it open? Did, his turkeys get out? What's going on?
Just like Neanderthal man did at the British Museum. As I know, everyone remembers the Jack Neanderthal man exhibition, where he lost 9 of his turkeys and then made friends with the 10th one. That's what that story is about.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of that because the butler had left his gate open. That's not like a butler. Usually they close the gate. That's like their job.
In the sequel, he's definitely married to that turkey, right? And they've had kids, 10 kids. And someone leaves the
But
gate
they're
open.
very bad at looking after them.
Yeah.
One of the half-turkey, half-human hybrids got in a car.
No! And he's really terrified. Yeah. What have I told you about not getting into cars with strangers?
said Steve.
That's right.
Steve,
That is
child.
what I told him. Yes.
All right, so... No, something about his gait, his walk, reminded me of an exhibition of Neanderthal man at the British Museum, where presumably there were lots of actors pretending to be Neanderthal man, because otheress you wouldn't see how they walked, surely.
You wouldn't see how this guy walked either, because he's just opened a door. He's just stood there.
Also that. But something, I guess you mean stance then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, something about his stance reminded me of a picture of a Neanderthal.
Oh, right.
Was
Was that one? What does gait? I think I just thought that gait meant.
Oh, no, gait is walk, right? I believe gait means walk.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
But I didn't think it did. That's why it says that.
Well, we've all learned something today, except me.
Yeah.
But all of us here, except me and the listeners, we've all learned something.
Yeah, so his gait, but not his gait, his stance was like Neanderthal. Yeah, not his gait.
Yeah, so he stood like hunched over,
Maybe a spear in one hand.
holding a spear, wearing an animal skin. Yeah, big forehead.
Some rudimentary instruments. Yeah. Bongos.
Yeah, really
Rudimentary
basic
bongos
xylophone.
made out of stones. 2 rocks, which he's banging on.
Yeah.
What
Bone xylophone,
Yeah.
or xylobone, as I like to call
Xylobone,
it, and just
xylobone.
did.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely something that they had in the Flintstones, right? Xylobones.
Okay.
I don't know if they called them xylobones, but I'm gonna write to the makers of the Flintstones and tell them to travel in time and call them that if they didn't already.
Yeah, good plan.
Oh, sorry. There's a good line coming up, and I don't want to ruin it because we've just had this. The door was unlocked. Butler arrived, reminded me of Neanderthal man, and then the butler says, "Yes." He didn't mince his words. Is the comment, and I like that.
Yeah.
"I'm here to see Madame Dupont," I said to the beast. He simply stared back at me. "I am expected," I elaborated. He grunted and moved out of the way to let me in and closed the door behind me. "Follow," he managed, and then lumbered off down a dusty, dimly lit corridor, carrying his rudimentary bongos and xylobone with him.
Yes.
By now, I was feeling suitably uneasy, but all my fears were soon to be put to bed as I was led into the most lush and bright conservatory, where I found Madame Dupont awaiting my presence with a serene smile about her face. About her face, just near her face. It was like next to it.
Yeah.
She was frowning, but she had a frown on the shelf next to her face.
I'm going to put your fears into bed now. Let's put them over
Yeah.
here, get them and tuck them in nice and proper.
Just putting my teddy bear to bed first. Nighty night, Mr. Teddykins. Okay, now I'm putting your fears to bed. Nighty night, arachnophobia.
Yeah.
The contrast of this room to the rest of the house was extreme. So, like, the house is spooky,
Except-
but this room
yeah.
is lush and bright.
She's probably just started. She's only just moved in, so maybe this is the room she started decorating first. She's painting it nice and white. Got
Yeah.
some IKEA blinds and some stuff
just-
from
yeah.
Pottery Barn. It's looking nice.
It's a massive house. She's got to do it all, but she's like, well, I've got to live here as well. I'll do one room now, and then that's my room where I hang out, and I'll get round to the rest of the house in a year or two.
And we know that there's a bed in there because she just put arachnophobia in it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like her bed sit.
Yeah.
When the rest of the massive house is like, deal with it later. That's where the cat lives.
That's true.
If you live alone with cats, that is a good idea. Like, set yourself up in one room, and then leave the rest of the house to the cats. You know, make sure you got loads of stuff for them to climb on and under and stuff, and you just have your room.
Like, give them some paintbrushes and rollers and set them to work.
I mean, you can try that, but you might be better getting dogs for that.
Cats like rolling around and stuff. So if you just dip the cat in paint and then shove it in a room, it will like try and get it off. And by the time it's finished, it's painted the room for you.
Painted the whole room, yeah.
Plus, you don't have to wash it afterwards like you do with a roller because a cat is self-cleaning, of course.
Yeah. And if it's covered in paint and then it cleans itself, you won't have to feed it ever again because it's dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this has been DIY tips for roofs and Howard.
Yeah, you can see why that got cancelled so quick, right?
Yeah. Madame Dupont says, "Welcome, dear.
Well, I thought you were doing French. What's going on?
I'm having that problem of there not being enough words. Oh, hello, it is me, Larogne. Welcome, dear," said Madame Dupont, standing as she greeted me like an old friend, hugging me and kissing me. Oh, I'm forgetting to do the actual voice of the person who's supposed to be speaking here.
Oh, yeah.
I got distracted by Madame Dupont.
Yeah.
"Welcome, dear," said Madame Dupont, and she greeted me like an old friend, hugging me and kissing me on both cheeks.
Wow. So European.
"You have to excuse the house. I have great plans for a renovation, but for now, she is like something from a horror novel, is she not? Except for this room, because I live in this room, so I went to IKEA and Pottery Barn, and I got some things just to make this room look nice. But the rest of the house, that is for my cats anyway. You know? I cover them in paint and let them die. It's so far. It not working. So far, just a lot of dead cats and no painted walls.
That's why it looks like something out of a horror novel, because it's just a house full of dead cats.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Worst Writer in the World. If you'd like more, then go to patreon.com/manbuycow. Bye milk.
Bye, man.
Worst writer in the world. Worst writer